Welcome to our notes on function notation and evaluation part 2. Students will be able to apply function notation to evaluate an expression given an input to a function or solve an equation given an output to a function. Students will be able to verbally explain the difference between f of 2 versus f of x equals 2. Task 1, we are going to learn how to evaluate using a graph. So down here we have two different function notations, and we have to understand the difference between those two. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and draw a table. Okay, and there are two questions that we have to answer here. We have to ask ourselves, what are you given and what are you asked to find? Okay, so if we look here, we say f of x is 9 or equals 9. What is f of x? Well, if you remember your function notation, that's the output or the y value. So I'm saying the output is 9 or the y value is 9. So that's what we're given. We're given the output. Or you can, think about it as your y value because y is f of x. So what are you asked to find? What is it? What do we not know? We don't know what x is, and x is our input. Okay, so we're asked to find the input. Let's look at the second one real quick, and then we'll actually practice this. This says f of 9. What are we given? We're given that. Remember, the number or the expression inside of the parentheses is the input. So that's what we're given, right? Remember, input is the x value. And so what we're asked to find is f of 9, which is the output at that x value. Okay, so that's the difference between the two. All right, so let's actually find f of x equals 9. F of x equals 9 gives us the output. The output is 9. So that means we have to find the input. We want to know what x is. Okay, so remember, this is our x-axis here, and this is our y-axis. So what we're going to do is we're going to go all the way up to 9. So this is 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Just be careful. I know that 10 is there, but this is not 10. 10 is actually here. It's a little cut off. So here's 9. All right, that's y equals 9. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to scan to the left and to the right. So if I scan this way, my graph doesn't exist there, so I didn't need to do that, but it's a good habit to go ahead and scan to the left and to the right. So I'm going to start at 9 again, y equals 9, and I'm going to scan to the right. The only place that touches my graph is here. So now I'm going to go ahead and read off this x value. So this x value is actually 7. So I'm going to come down here. Right? The y value was 9. The x value is 7. Okay, so your answer is x equals 7. I'm just going to put that in that space right there. All right, so I'm just going to mark up my graph so I can remember what I did. So here's 9. I went this way. Okay, and I'm going to put a closed circle here, and then I'm going to go down and I'm going to read that x value. Okay, I'm going to change my color here to green. And now let's find f of 9. This time we're given the input, which is the x value, and we want to find the output, which is the y value, and you're probably more familiar with this one. Okay, so this time I'm going to go to x equals 9, and I'm going to move up, okay, until it hits my graph. Now, if this is a function, it should only hit once, which it does because, if you look anywhere here, your graph doesn't exist. So now I'm going to read this y value, 1, 2, 3, and I'm also going to erase this because I don't want to confuse anybody. So first, we moved up from x equals 9, and then we moved to the right, and we read off that value. I'm just going to put arrows on the other one because we started at 9, and we went to this point, and then we went down to the x-axis. So I hope this helps, and let's go ahead and practice some more. All right, before we actually go and practice some more, I should probably go ahead and write the answer down here. So I can just put 3 here. So notice that my answer for a situation like this, where it says f of x equals 9, I have to write a complete mathematical statement, x equals 7. But here, f of 9 equals 3 completes the mathematical statement that I have. Okay, so just be careful about that. Here I don't have to write y equals 3, but here I have to write x equals 7. Okay, so here we have the same graph. We're just going to do a few more problems. I'm going to do a few problems, and then I'm going to ask you to do a few problems. So here's task 2, reading graphs with function notation. It says find the following values of the function. So here, remember, I'm given what's inside the parentheses. That is the input. So I am being asked to find the output here. Okay, so we're going to find the input of 6, which is right here. We're going to go up to our graph, and we're going to stop right here, and then we're going to read what that y value is. So this y value is 7. So I'm going to put 7 here. So if you need to, if you needed to like make that dotted line so that you understand how we got that, that's great. So I'm just going to put the, the point here. Okay, so that's that point. I'm going to change my color, and I'm going to find f of 2. So here's x equals 2. I'm going to go up to my graph, and then I'm going to read the y value, which is 5. Okay, so I'm going to put that here, and then I'm just going to show the point here. Okay, so why don't you try these two problems? Find f of 0 and f of 10. So I think we're really used to finding the output when we're given the input, but sometimes we have to switch that, and we have to find the input given the output. So that's what this problem is asking us to do, and it's a little bit more clear. We don't just put f of x equals 7, right? We say for which values of x does f of x equal 7. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to change my color. Let's switch to this color. So I'm going to use my laser, and I'm going to say, hey, I'm given the output of 7, and I want to know which x values would put me there. So it could be more than one here. So I'm going to go up to y equals 7. And so here I have a point already. So x equals 0. Okay, and then I'm going to keep scanning to the left and to the right. And oh, look, f of 6. So x equals 6. And if I keep scanning, oh, here's another one. So we're going to have to estimate this one. This is about, I don't know, 7.7, maybe 7.8, one of those things. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to color this in. I had a point here. I had this point here. I'm just going to I don't want to get rid of the blue part. And I have this point here. So this is the one I have to really estimate. This is probably closer to 7.8. Okay, so x equals 0. Remember, I have to write that, comma, x equals 6. And yes, you have to keep writing x equals. And x equals 7.8-ish. Okay, if you want to say approximately, we can change that equal to a little squiggle equal. Okay, that means approximately equal to 7.8. So now that I have done that problem, why don't you try finding the x values where f of x equals 3. And here we gave you a hint. You have 2 answers.